Welcome back to the channel. This is The Casuals. I'm Jin.
And I'm Saki.
And today's episode is Meal for Two. Title will be failed ideas. uh, so this one has been, I guess, a long time coming because, well, at the same time, it's not been a long time coming because we never ever finished what we were gonna do. In fact, uh, which is kind of a, I guess, weird thing. Essentially, what happened was if you guys ever remember, whoever's listening to this, if you guys remember, we did an episode on frozen pizza, and we rated the frozen pizza, and we ranked them and what we thought was good, and overall what we thought is worth the price and everything. And after we did that, we're like, all right, or during that time, actually, not even after, during the time when we were still in the makings of that, I guess, video where we were trying out pizza, we were like, doing chicken tender, like those like fried or frozen chicken, sticks, tenders, sounds like a good idea. And you were like, oh yeah, it seems like a decent idea. It's chicken tender seems like a common enough, I guess, like food, in America especially, where like people like to eat like just strips of chicken, you know.
Yep.
And
Good old chicken tender.
yeah. We went searching for them, right? I got three, right? It was like, I think it was like Tyson's, Foster Farms, and then the last one was called Progressive or something like that. And we're like, all right, we got those three. Let's go get them, right? And so we managed to find the first two easily. We didn't buy them right away. We only bought one of them. I think it was Tyson's that was first, right?
Yeah, it was a Tyson Costco size, which was a lot.
Yeah, and I think it was like $10.
It's like 10 to 15, somewhere in between there, I think.
Yeah. We bought that. We thought it was decent. Again, there's not really. It's pretty hard to mess up chicken tenders, in my opinion. What about you?
I mean, it's pretty hard to mess it up, but somewhere out there, someone's probably messed it up pretty bad.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean every chicken tender is gonna be amazing or anything like that. It's just like it's not gonna be the point of like oh my god, I'm not gonna eat this. Like it's always gonna be like it's serviceable. I'll eat it, right? Especially when there's condiments on the side. So that was fine. And then we went to the next one. We're like, okay, let's go get Foster Farms. And so we got it. Same thing. I think Foster Farms was the one you said you liked better, right?
Yeah, I like Foster Farms better.
And it was like way better, I think you said, like because of like the crispiness or something.
Well, not really the crispiness, but the chicken itself, I think, was just better.
Wasn't
The
it
actual
like
chicken meat.
yeah, wasn't like the what's it called? What's it called? I'm suddenly forgetting the name. Tyson's one a little bit dry.
It wasn't dry, it was kind of chewy and stringy.
Mmm.
And then the Foster Farms was more of a softer, I guess, bite.
Yeah,
Which was
yeah. You can tell I don't remember this because one, it was a long time ago, and two, it just did not make that much of an impression after a while.
yeah, I mean, I don't remember a whole lot. All I remember was Tyson's was not that great.
Yeah. And so, we like the pizza episode we did. We were gonna look for a third one and conclude that. Sorry, a little bit gassy. And make the video, right? Here's the thing. I mentioned that there was a third brand called Progressive, and I was like, all right, let's go look for that. Turns out, Progressive doesn't exist anymore, as like the chicken tenders doesn't exist. And apparently, I found out the reason why was because they had a lot of health health hazard issues. It has caused sickness in people, and so I think all of their products got recalled, and so you don't like they may exist somewhere, right? Somewhere in a grocery store that I have no idea about, but they don't exist in major chains anymore. And so when we were trying to look for like the third chicken tender brand, there was just none. Like in terms of like what we could think of nationwide, chicken tenders, there's just none.
Yeah, honestly, it was either Tyson, Foster Farm, or some other brand, but it wasn't even chicken tenders. It was some other just like chicken patty or like a a nugget or something, and we were looking for tenders specifically.
Yeah. So I was astonished because I thought chicken tenders would be far more like commonplace like in America. Turns out it's not, and it's just those two brands. It's kind of like again nationwide, like, and even if there was one, it wasn't nationwide, and they wouldn't be like, So we were out and we went to like three different stores. We didn't specifically go to three different stores just to look for that one chicken tender. It's whenever we visited like a different grocery store, we kind of looked at the chicken tender like aisle, whatever, like the frozen meat section. It just was only Tyson's and Foster Farms. That's it.
Yep. Honestly, I don't think any other tenders exist. But I don't know. Maybe some other. Maybe we gotta check like a random non like Ralph's or like Stater Brothers type store. Maybe some random hole in the wall or something, market or something.
Yeah, but like, as the original goal was, we wanted to get something that was more commonplace, just so like many people can actually have a reference if they were to ever go out and get these foods. So we ended up like canning the whole chicken tender thing, and then eventually after that, I don't think we never really thought about doing another one because we were kind of like we never completed. Well, we were supposed to finish the chicken tenders, and we want to kind of like complete that, but we never completed it, so we never bothered moving on to another food.
I think we never bothered because we kind of just forgot about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could have, but literally we just, I don't know, never decided to do it.
I think another issue with this particular idea is that with frozen foods, there's so many different frozen foods. It's hard to even like start getting them, and like a lot of frozen foods these days are so diverse, right? They're so specific in what they like sell and like what they're contained. Like for example, a lot of frozen foods like they could be like chicken tikka masala or like chicken curry whatever So like, and if you were to look for chicken tikka masala frozen food specifically, you're not gonna find that many in the first place, much less nationwide. And so when we were trying to think of, I remember we were trying to deliberate which ones we should do, right? And I remember we had an idea for like, well, let's do dumplings, right? And then we're like, well, shit. What brands of dumplings do we go with? Do we go with the American ones? Do we go with the Asian ones? Do we go with like some other like ethnic like dumpling types? And we couldn't decide because there was just too many.
Yeah, I remember when we thought of that. You're like, that's a good idea, and then you're like, well, we have a store here called H Mart, and I'm like, and he's like, yeah, a whole aisle, both sides are just dumplings. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, you want to eat that many? You're like, no. There's probably like 50 plus kinds, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
And like, even if you were to narrow it down, like, all right, let's get chicken dumplings, right? Suddenly there's a whole even more subset of chicken dumplings. There's chicken and scallion dumplings, chicken and pork dumplings, chicken and like all different parts, like different types of things mixed with chicken, right? You're not gonna find just pure chicken and inside dumplings. It's just not gonna happen. And even if there was, there wouldn't be enough brand varieties for us to even make a video out of it, right?
Yep. It was just that idea. It seemed good, but then you thought about it realistically, and it was just awful.
Yeah. And like, that's not even mentioning we can easily get tired of eating these foods too, because it's not like where we can afford to like buy one package and then like take only a bite of one or two and then go on to the next package and go take a bite of one or two. We're not gonna waste the dumplings. We're not gonna just throw them out like maybe other TV shows may have done, or like food programs that might have aired on like those kind of things that may have. I'm not saying they do, but more than likely they do throw it out, knowing that grocery stores, big chains, throw out all the food that aren't sold on a certain day instead of giving it to the homeless. That to me doesn't make any sense, but that's a whole different like issue. Anyways, back to what I was saying. We don't want to waste them, so we would have to eat them all. But like it kind of like, again, we're paying money to buy this. It's not like we get these for free and we're sponsored, but we're not sponsored. I mean, if any company out there is willing to sponsor us, honestly, I'm just gonna say you're crazy.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Like, if you are willing to sponsor us, I would legitimately be like, do you need to see a doctor? Because like, as much as sponsorships are nice, and depending what they are, again, I'm not gonna willy-nilly accept sponsorships just for the sake of money. I feel like both of us would have the morals, standards of we gotta test this product first, and if we actually do like it, then we'll accept the sponsorship type deal, right? But even before that concern, getting to the point where we're like, hey, we like your content, would you like to be sponsored? Like, I would just think they're crazy, or I would think it's a genuine scam.
Yeah. If we do get a sponsor, we need to try the lottery.
Yeah, we do. Oh my god. So anyways, going back again, we always friggin' always what's it called, digress topics.
Content, dude.
We can't waste it again because we pay money, right? You and I split, but even then it's still money being thrown into this like idea. And again, we don't make a living off of this. We're just doing this for the memories. And is it worth the money? No. Especially when nowadays even frozen foods are a lot more expensive than they were before. So getting like 3 packs of dumplings for 3 different brands is probably close to $30. And that's just not worth.
Yeah, for one video.
Yeah, not to mention, like, I'm pretty sure you, especially you, I don't know about me, but you could probably make homemade dumplings that are far better and far cheaper.
I actually have made homemade dumplings.
Yeah, and I trust I trust you to make even better dumplings than frozen dumplings. So it's, again, like, it goes back to the whole point. We're gonna waste money if we do this, so it's not worth. And like, we even thought about like drinks, I think, at one point, but like even then it's the same crux of the issue. It's a lot of money. We're probably not going to be able to drink all of them, and plus, like, ideally we would like to have like taste or drink all of like the foods within a certain time period, just so we can eat, like, keep fresh in the mind and compare them. We can't like go weeks later and then do it. Our pizza one was pretty close because we did, I think, almost one per week. And we skipped like a couple of weeks for one of them, but we still managed to come out, make that video because some of them were just very clear and like the difference, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's not gonna be so easy between like drinks and and plus, we kind of know what we like already. Like for you, you like Mountain Dew.
Oh yeah, Mountain Dew, do the dew.
Yeah, and for me, I personally just prefer Coke. Not that I'm like a Coke diehard. It's just that's the soda I'm most used to, right? And because there's always going to be certain biasy, we can't really give you a reliable, here's what we think, right? Because we're already going there with the hard discrepancy of, hey, Saki likes Mountain Dew, I like Coke. We can't really make a video out of that. And even then, like, if we were to do something that was even outside the realm of that kind of thing, where it's like outside of soda, and we talk about, juice, right? There's all sorts of issues with that. Again, going to like, there's so many different types, and I guess you kind of do have a bias in this case where if we were to introduce pineapple juice, because I think you do like pineapple flavored drinks, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't mind them, but I'm not gonna like have a favorite. For me personally, I don't know if I ever told you this, Saki, because I never thought it was worth mentioning. I think I really like mango flavored juice.
Mango.
Yeah.
Have you had? No. I'll tell you. I'll tell you after the episode. This is gonna go off on a tangent.
No, dude. That's where, dude. Tell me now. Tell me. I am interested.
There's I think I forget what brand, but it's called Mango Nectar. Have you ever had that?
I love mango nectar. My mom would buy that freaking gallon jug of mango nectar, and I would chug that thing within a week as a kid.
Well, that answers my question.
And I remember specifically asking her for mango nectar because it was a lot more sugary compared to regular mango drinks. And it was a lot less sour, because sometimes with juices there's like that kind of like slight sourness,
Sour, like tartness.
Yeah, tartness. I didn't like that even with mango, so like I requested specifically for mango nectar. It's super sugary. It's like 99% sugar. It's not even like really mango. It's just sugar, with a hint of mango in it, essentially. But I really love drinking that. So I come in with the bias of mango nectar or mango juice. So again, not a good idea. So we can't even do that. So really, like when we come and try, like, you know, looking at different foods and everything, um, it's just hard. There's just too many, and it keeps on evolving. Like the frozen food market has definitely changed a lot.
Yeah, all these different new brands and stuff coming in, or you know, like you said, like we see brands like the Progressive or something, and they just disappear because I guess health reasons.
And
So,
as you, yeah, and then you mentioned brands disappearing. I think we did talk about this in the episode with the coconut water, chocolate flavored drink that I really like that just no longer exists.
yep, I remember that.
Yeah, that the same exact thing could happen where it just no longer exists, and we will never be able to have it unless the company decides to bring it back, which I highly doubt is ever gonna happen. So, you know, oof. Uh, so yeah, that's just like one of the conundrums what came up in terms of like, I guess, making these type of videos and even trying to like make it happen. And that's why we kind of like regret, like even with our when we started off. I remember when we were talking about our very first episode. I believe it was for Crispy House, right? For our food meal for two episode, Crispy House rating.
Yeah,
I remember we gave it like the you know, out of 5 stars for certain things, like taste, price, whatever. I'm already forgetting because it's been so long. We went with that, and then we kind of just stopped because I think we both kind of felt like it was more enjoyable to actually just talk about our experience more than actually trying to put it on a more objective scale, I guess, you know, or trying to give you like a score.
yeah,
It became too tedious, right? And like not tedious in the sense like, ugh, like I don't want to do this, but more like it's too tedious to the point where like it feels like I felt like personally we were kind of missing the main point of, you know, I guess the overall channel, but also just like feel of talking about experiences of eating food. So that's why I think we kind of like unconsciously just diverted to like just talking about our experience, what we thought, you know, what was amazing, and make some comparisons instead of like giving a 5 out of 5 rating or anything like that, you know.
yeah. I kind of noticed that too. Like, I think after a couple of the episodes, we're just like, just subconsciously, we're just like ignoring that rating scale and just kind of did our own thing, like a new format for those videos.
Yeah. And as of you know what we're recording, we're in the second week of December, I believe. Second week, yeah. Technically second. First, depending on how you look at it. But we're in the second week of December. The year is almost already over. I feel like our content has changed quite a bit actually. Um, it shifted a lot, especially I believe in the second half, right? Ever since we made our half anniversary video, we shifted tones a lot. I would say rather. Um, and this is, I believe this will be the last meal for two video of this year.
Is it?
Yes, because 3 weeks from now is going to be the 29th, and that is going to be, so we're going to after this we're going to do what's it called? I think it was a meal for two. I'm already forgetting our format, which is bad.
Questions.
Questions, random ramblings, and then anime. So those are the 3 other episodes we have to do, and then it's New Year's.
That's amazing how we've gone through about a year already.
Yeah. And so, you know, this is the very last, you know, meal for two, you know, episode, right? Specifically for this year. Who knows? We're gonna make changes essentially, right? We're gonna make changes to how we do things next year. So I guess look forward towards that. I hope it's good. You know, I have no idea. It's really, we're just kind of testing the waters at this point. We're not professional content creators. I mean, if we were, it would be a dumpster fire, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, if this was considered professional, yikes.
Yikes! Yeah, big yikes. So I know, hopefully the content, you know, that we put out, you know, just for ourselves in the future and the potential viewers, it's enjoyable. We're just, again, two kind of idiots. I'm more of the idiot. It's like the whole, you know, what's it called, Dumb and Dumber, right?
Yep.
I'm the dumber one for sure. I mean, in a joking way, you're the dumb one, so Saki dumb, Jin dumber. Um, we're just kind of figuring things out as we go, right? Um, and so yeah, like I mean, I think the meal for two, the way we have it more recently, the consistent format that we've had in the past, I wouldn't say 6 months. I think we'll be keeping this format for this specific section. But we'll definitely bring new interesting ideas that we've been holding off. We've been meaning to do. I guess it's there's no point of like keeping it a secret because we're not we're not famous content creators, and we're not gonna have this next new idea. It's not even remotely new. We were supposed to do tier list for a long while. In fact, that was one of our main things for food, of like tier list of certain things, type of food categories. We had this idea. You brought it up specifically, if I remember correctly, Saki, to do tier lists.
Yeah, just on random things like food or just games or shows or something,
Yeah.
Just to I remember we were trying to figure out a name for the segment, and I think it was like tier lists to piss people off or something.
Yeah.
Because regardless of how we put it, it's gonna piss someone off.
Yeah. So, what's it called? We, I was like, yeah, that's a good idea, but we never really did it, just because, again, we never really tried to figure out and like hammer out like the details of how we're gonna go about it and what we're gonna do. Because again, even then, that whole like section is broad, right? If we were to do tier list of video games, okay, now what video game, right? All right, let's just say first-person shooter. All right, do you count Halo as a pure first-person shooter? Kind of not. It has abilities in the game. Well, it has certain abilities in each game. So, like, do you count that as pure FPS? I don't know, right? Do you count Overwatch as an FPS? It has FPS elements, but it's not necessarily FPS. There's a whole, issue, right? And if we were just to say, okay, Overwatch is unique, right? But what other games can we compare that, like, hero shooter? All right, which hero shooters are now exist, right? And not every game is in the same format as Overwatch, where it's, let's just say, for example, capture or what's that? Move the payload, right? The only other game that has that exact same format in an almost identical format is Team Fortress 2. No other game has this format. You can look at a game called Valorant. It doesn't have that. It's basically team deathmatch and what's it called? Defuse the bomb, like CS:GO style, right? So and that's a hero shooter, but it's not the same game mode as Overwatch. So we can't really even make a tier list in Overwatch's section. So like, how do we go about that? It's so complicated, right? And I guess you can just say like, for simplicity's sake, let's just consider this all in the FPS, category. Well, now it becomes a little bit troubling because, it's just a whole plethora of like different nuances and like influences and like just game mechanics in general, whether you think it's fun or not. So, I mean, for me personally, I have too much of a dilemma over this. You probably just like, fuck it, I don't know. What do you think in terms of that kind of thought of like trying to do tier lists for that kind of stuff?
I would say just like find an already made tier list that we find, suitable, and then use what they have. And also one other random thing I want to add.
Mm-hmm.
I like how this started out as chicken tenders, and now we're not even talking about food anymore.
I mean, it's the same vein as like, remember we were going through the whole dilemma of like snacks, and we're like, all right, let's do chips, and we're like, okay, well, no, what now counts as a chip? Is it the Lay's potato chips? Is there corn chips? Is there like, And we were just like, okay, well, how do we put this into each other, right?
That's why I said we just find an already made list.
Yeah. So yeah, again, I think we even went over this exact same thing where it's like we come to the conclusion that I'm overthinking it too much, and we just gotta do it.
I'd say yeah, we should just do one to see how it goes.
Yeah. So definitely when the new year comes out in 4 weeks, or our anniversary video, which would be in 4 weeks exactly, it should be interesting. I don't know how we're gonna do it. We're probably just gonna do like a special video and then go on to our regular segments. But yeah, like again, and as time has gone on, we also found less specific, like, very specific things to talk about, more like general broad topics. So again, that's why the format changes will be coming soon. It's specifically because I don't want to force ourselves to think of or force ourselves to do things that we may not necessarily find fun. Certainly some segments will say, like, definitely the questions. I love that. It's staying. But other things like, the whole what's it called? What's it called? Time we're not gonna get back. I don't know when that's ever gonna come back. Unless we find a new game, and we kind of thought of a semi replacement for it, but we don't know exactly how it's gonna pan out. So yeah. So funny enough, this was started as Meals for Two, and now we're kind of ending on like a not so Meal for Two ending. But if there's one thing that will, I guess, in a sense, stay consistent, right, is that you and I, Saki, we'll always go and try to find out food. We'll always try to find like good food.
Yep. I mean, I don't know how big of a foodie you are, but I'm kind of a foodie.
Oh, I'm definitely a foodie. And so yeah, like we'll definitely continue Meal for Two. It may not be the exact same format, but we'll definitely keep the heart of it. So yeah, this was a little bit of a shorter episode, but there was quite a bit to talk about in just terms of our thoughts, I guess. For what it's been like for the past year, I guess. So yeah, I'll end it here. So I'm Jin.
And I'm Saki.
This is The Casuals, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.